How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its excellent summer sale right now. Got a lot of deals to go over. We're going to be looking at deals under the price of $20, so that gives us a little bit more headroom as far as including the more expensive deals. A lot of good stuff. This is, again, not everything, so just keep that in mind. We've got about 15 deals or so here, so let's just get right into it and let's kick things off for a game that I've been quite on the side of all year long, and that is Hi-Fi Rush. It is 40% off for $18. Obviously, very sad state of affairs when a studio can deliver a game at the quality level of Hi-Fi Rush and get shut down anyway. Very sad state of affairs when a game like Hi-Fi Rush comes out and the reward for it is studio closure. I mean, I can't phrase it enough ways that just makes you so depressed, and I don't know if we're ever going to get a sequel for this game, but Hi-Fi Rush itself is an awesome game, an action game crossed with a music rhythm title. I wouldn't have thought that that would have worked well, but Hi-Fi Rush absolutely nails it. From a combat standpoint, it's well done. The soundtrack is great. The art style is fantastic, and you just got a lovable cast of characters. The characters at the helm of this story, Chai and 808, just a great tandem that, you know, gaming thrives on having great mascots or great, great tandems. Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, so on and so forth. This Mario and Luigi, this has been a thing in gaming forever, and I feel like Chai and 808 could have been that for Microsoft. Unfortunately, I don't mean to get on a tangent. It's just whenever I talk about Hi-Fi Rush, I think about how great of a game it is, and then I think about the fact that we're never going to get a sequel for this game unless a decade from now, and I could really see this happening, a Kickstarter gets started and it's a spiritual successor to Hi-Fi Rush or whatever. Nonetheless, it's a great game. Now, the main campaign is fairly short, but there is actually quite a bit of replayability post-game content that makes it worthwhile, and it's $18. It was a budget title when it came out at $30. It was already highway robbery back then for the full price. Now a little bit cheaper, and I would say it's well worth it. It was legitimately one of my favorite games of 2023. Obviously, the PS5 port just came out this year, but fantastic game. Next up, Yakuza Like a Dragon, 80% off for $11.99. Okay, so with Yakuza as a franchise, I really think we need to start thinking about how we promote this franchise. I think we need to get new people into said franchise, and you know what? Yakuza Like a Dragon, I think, is a great starting point for Yakuza. It really comes down to, do you want a turn-based JRPG, or do you want an action beat-em-up title? Depending on which type of game is more up your alley, I would say either go with Yakuza Like a Dragon or Yakuza 0 if you want that action beat-em-up title, or if you want to just consider it from the standpoint of RGG games, action beat-em-up Judgment is a great option as well. But Yakuza Like a Dragon stars a new character, Ichiban Kasuga, who is an awesome character, just completely likable, and in a lot of regards, like, somewhat relatable, just a dude that has been handed kind of a crappy hand in life, and tries to build himself back up. Obviously, being an RGG title, it is completely crazy and over the top, and ain't nobody, you know, I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but we're not going through what Ichiban's going through. At least I damn well hope you're not, but, you know, it is relatable from a thematical standpoint and what Ichiban goes through. Hardship, you know, pressure makes diamonds, and it's very humorous in the sense of Ichiban's just a very comedic character at times, but can get serious when it's needed to be. And from a mechanic standpoint, it's a really well-made turn-based JRPG. Content-wise, there's a lot to do, and after you beat Like a Dragon, you might want to check out Infinite Wealth as well, which is my current game of the year, I think, and yeah, I'm a RGG nut hugger, so take that with a grain of salt, but $12 for Like a Dragon is a great deal. Next up, Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy, 65% off for $17.49. It's Tomb Raider 2013, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I've talked about these games ad nauseum, much like Yakuza, much like Hi-Fi Rush, but these games are great. Really, I would just like to see Tomb Raider be more consistent, a consistent fixture in the gaming world. We got all three of these games in the span of like 5 years, and now it's been 6 years and we haven't gotten a new Tomb Raider game. I know it's in development, I know Crystal Dynamics kind of got, I believe they were working on a lot of other projects as well, like they were tasked with the Avengers game and everything like that, but Tomb Raider needs to see more consistent releases. I love Tomb Raider 2013 and thought they built upon it excellently with Rise of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider I'm not as crazy about. I still think it's a damn good game. Just ROTR, in my opinion, is peak. All three games are fantastic, and hopefully we'll get a new Tomb Raider game maybe next year. Fingers crossed on that one. Definitely something I will be looking forward to. Next up, we got Resident Evil Village Gold Edition, 60% off for $19.99. This includes Resident Evil Village as well as the DLC. Great pickup on Resident Evil Village, which I think is a really, really solid game. Resident Evil has just been one of the more consistent franchises of the last, half decade or so, and Village was a great game. I would highly recommend you to play Biohazard first. You don't gotta play every Resident Evil game under the sun before Village, but Biohazard I feel like you really should play. It's a great game. Also, it does support PlayStation VR 2 if you do own it. It's pretty cool in that regard as well. And Capcom's done a really good job of taking their Resident Evil games and putting them into PlayStation VR as well. So, again, if you do have it, it's just an added layer. If not, no big deal. Great game. It's Resident Evil, so it's fairly short but replayable. So, $20 for that. Great pickup there. Next up, we got Pacific Drive, 40% off for $17.99. Now, I will say that this game in its entirety did not really click with me. That is really more so me not being a fan of a lot of the survival crafting elements. I really liked a lot of the other elements in Pacific Drive, and that's why I want to recommend it. I think from an atmosphere standpoint, it is so good. The vibe of this game is just great. Visual aesthetics, great. Narratively, pretty compelling as well. If you can get past, like, the shortcomings that I personally had, and that is going to be something that is very, very personal to me, as far as me just not liking those mechanics, I think a lot of you guys are going to end up having a really good time with Pacific Drive. Came out earlier this year, already a nice discount on it, and this is a game that just got a free update. I believe they added a photo mode and some other components to the game, so not a bad time to check it out as well. So for this price point, decent pickup there. Do give that a look. Next up, couple of Rockstar titles. Red Dead Redemption 2, $19.79. I don't even gotta sell you guys on this. It's already R2. If you're one of the 4 people that don't own it, go check it out. But LA Noire is also 50% off for $19.99. I wish this was cheaper given the fact that this is a game from literally 2010. They did upgrade it a little bit for this re-release, but it's still a game from 2010. I really dug LA Noire. I feel like some of the aspects of the game were really ahead of its time back in 2010. I just remember a lot of attention around this game, and great setting. Visuals still hold up fairly nicely, and narratively, it is quite compelling. I think for $19.99, it's not a great pickup, but I just don't know if we're gonna get this cheaper, so I'll give it a shout. Next up, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition, 75% off for $12.49. Witcher 3 plus the DLC. Again, much like RDR2, for the 4 people that don't own it, it's a fantastic pickup. The DLC content is very, very good as well, so that's quite nice. And the base game, obviously. You're getting a lot of content here for your money, and the PlayStation 5 upgrade certainly worthwhile as well. So definitely give this a look. I know some people, I say Witcher 3 is a masterclass in single-player game design, and it seems like the one issue that I've heard some people have with it is the combat. Just didn't vibe with the combat for whatever reason. I like it. I think it's nuanced. I think it's got quite a lot of depth to it. And obviously everything else, visually, narratively, the world design, absolutely excellent. $12.49, great pickup there. Give a shout out to Guilty Gear Strive, which is 50% off for $19.99. Quite in the news recently with some of the content coming to this game here fairly soon. But obviously with a fighting game here, you're getting the base game, so there's a lot of other content that you can get, which is always a little bit of a bummer, but that's just the reality of fighting games these days. We're up to Season Pass 4. So, the base game is only really going to scratch the surface as far as all the content. But I will say, Guilty Gear Strive from a visual standpoint, absolutely slick. I mean, Arc System works in their visual presentation in fighting games. In my opinion, for what I like out of visuals in a fighting game, absolutely unmatched. Slick design. I'm not super into fighting games. I can't really mechanically break it down and tell you the balancing and all this stuff, but for $19.99, I think it's a pretty good deal. If you are into fighting games from a more casual standpoint, I think you'll still enjoy it. Next up, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, 60% off for $15.99. DMZ5 is great, one of the best action games I've played. Soundtrack is awesome. Devil Trigger, I know it's very much the noob thought of thinking Devil Trigger is one of the best tracks ever, but yo, Devil Trigger is one of the best tracks ever. sue me on that one. It's a great game. Narratively, I've never been a big Devil May Cry guy, but from an action gameplay standpoint, I think it's great, so definitely check it out from that standpoint. Next up, Watch Dogs 1 and 2 Standard Editions bundle. It's both games, the Standard Edition of each. I think Watch Dogs, like, going back and playing Watch Dogs, I think a lot of people will be pleasantly surprised by it because you're not going into it with the grandiose expectations that I had back in 2014 with Watch Dogs 1. Much like Final Fantasy 15, that's why I recommend that game as well, just because yes, there was hefty expectations attached to these games when they came out, but, you know, now, all these years removed, you're not going back and playing Watch Dogs 1 expecting that it's, you know, the invention of sliced bread or something like that. It's just a good open-world game with a cool style and a cool premise. $11.99 for both games, pretty good deal. Would check that out. Next up, Walking Dead, the Telltale Definitive Series, 60% off for $19.99. Now, this has been cheaper, and considerably so. I want to say it's been down to like $12, so you are paying a premium, but it's still a great deal. Walking Dead Seasons 1 through 4, and you're getting the mini-series here as well, Michonne and 400 Days. Walking Dead absolutely peaked with Season 1 and 2. Season 3 is mid. Season 4 is pretty good, and, you know, the mini-series are fine. But $19.99 for all that content is great. And even Season 3, again, it's not bad. It's not bad whatsoever. Season 1 is just, it just starts the franchise at such a high point that very much hard to follow that, but Season 2 I thought did a great job. It was just, again, it's hard to sustain that level of quality in a lot of regards. Next up, we got Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. You got Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy here. I think Uncharted 4 is great. Some of the narrative elements I wasn't crazy about, and just seemed like they were kind of just trying to do wild things for the sake of doing wild things, but from a visual standpoint, it is great. And think about this, we are getting close to a decade since Uncharted 4 came out, which is absolutely insane to think about, but it's a great game. I personally, as a character, like the introduction of Sam. I thought he was a likable character in some instances. Like, some of the banter I thought was really well done. Some of the other elements in the game, I mean, take them for what you will. Overall, I think the game is great. $19.99, and you're getting Lost Legacy, which is, you know, more of the same, centering around Chloe, but a worthwhile experience there as well. I'll give a shout to Metal Gear Solid 5, the definitive experience, 40% off for $11.99. Obviously, this game has had its price juiced up because I would assume the reasoning is Konami is going to be releasing Metal Gear Solid, the Master Collection Volume 2 sometime, hopefully in this lifetime. Maybe in the fall? I don't know. That's a collection they can announce and then roll out pretty quickly thereafter. But I imagine they're going to do that eventually. I imagine MGS5 is going to be baked into that. And you don't want to be selling MGS5 on sale regularly for like $5 or whatever they do. So it's a way to appreciate the price point. If you also look, they've done that with Metal Gear Rising on Steam. That used to go on sale for like $7, and now you can only get that game on sale for $18 through Steam. So, you know, Rising might be baked into that collection or one of the future collections, or get a remaster in its own right, which that sounds like a way to print money. I'm just saying. Rules of nature, you guys kidding me? But MGS5 itself is a great game. Obviously, a lot of drama attached to this game 9 years ago when all the controversy went down with Konami and, you know, Hideo Kojima. But now that we're removed from that, if you assess it for a game itself, it's a really well-done open-world action stealth title. And I think it's one of those games where shifting Metal Gear to an open-world design, actually, they did a good job in how they designed it, because the open world favors the authentic Metal Gear gameplay. It's like the open world is working for what Metal Gear is instead of Metal Gear working for what the open world is, which I think a lot of the times when you do go from a game that was linear or not open world to open world, full-blown open world, to a more open world design, that can have some issues. With MGS5, I really felt like the open world complemented the MGS5 gameplay instead of the gameplay trying to fit into this open world, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is it's really well done from a gameplay standpoint. I liked the telling of some of the story elements through the cassette tapes. I thought those were well done, but obviously the cut content isn't great, you know. That's never going to be great, but what can you do? Lastly, we got Mafia Trilogy, 75% off for $14.99, so a new low price for Mafia Trilogy. Mafia 1, 2, and 3, essentially $5 a pop, given that Mafia 1 for a while was going for 10, Mafia 2 was going for 10, Mafia 3 was going for 10, 15 for all three. If you don't own any of them, that's a damn good deal. Mafia 1 and 2 are great. Mafia 3, that's literally one of those games where I thought the open world worked against Mafia, but, you know, it is what it is as far as that's concerned. $15, a good price for for that. That is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available right now. Links in the description box below. If anything, if nothing else, pick up Hi-Fi Rush. That's a game that I'll be, beating the drum of for years and years at this point. So get ready for that. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.